Everybody, welcome to Feeling Fab Friday and this month's Healthy Home Tips from PDX RE team here, Tim and Mariah.
Hello.
We're here to give you some ideas about some of the healthy home tips. This could not have come at a better time for me. Because the other day I was cooking some, what did I have? Stuffed zucchini.
Oh, that sounds good.
And I had what I thought was a pretty expensive cooking sheet, baking sheet, right? So ate dinner, took the leftovers, put them in the refrigerator, went to clean the pan, and it was bubbling up, and some of the stuff, the Teflon or whatever is in it,
like that coating,
came off.
Uh-oh.
So yeah, and again, I didn't think this was a cheap pan, but apparently it is.
Well, I can
so of
scratch
course
it.
the leftovers are
Like,
thrown
I'm not
away
eating that.
because there's no way I'm going to eat that. So what we're talking about today is cookware and the types of cookware that you should probably be getting, because this is something that you're going, what you eat every single meal. So when you go out and you buy the cheaper stuff, you got to realize some of the chemicals and things that are inside of it. And that's what we want to point out to you today, and some of the stuff that you could be purchasing in lieu of some of the cheaper stuff that you may buy in the store. Some of the concerns are the heavy metals that can leak or leach into your foods from some of these pans. Cast iron, which is a great product, and it can leach iron though into your system, into your food. Now iron, of course, we all want iron, we need iron, but too much of that can be a little bit toxic and harmful too. So that's one of the tests too that you want to get through your doctors and blood tests. Copper, also, copper can leach into your food when you're using copper. Copper lined stainless steel has a benefit of quickly heating and lightweight, and it's easier for some people. Aluminum can leach into your foods too. I don't know exactly what too much aluminum can do to you, but sometimes you'll get that flavor inside of your food from the aluminum. And then stainless steel, it can leach nickel and chromium into your food also. And again, these are all things that our body needs, but are we getting too much of them from some of the other stuff that we eat or some of the things that we use? One of the tricks to look at on the bottom of some of these pots and pans for the stainless steel is a 18/8 or an 18/10 stamped on the bottom, and they are least likely to leach, and they are lightweight and durable. And then
so nonstick is a very popular one. I know growing up, my mom always had the stainless steel pots, and then once nonstick became more mainstream, we were all about it because easy to clean, especially if you are a kid having to do the dishes. You don't want to do stainless steel that the food does stick on, which, there's always those pros and cons, right? So the big thing with stainless steel, or the non-stick, is that they come, or often were made with pure fluorinated chemicals, or PFCs, which I prefer that acronym, a lot easier to say, or other chemicals. And those haven't been really tested to know how they can impact us. So any chemical in our body usually isn't good, especially excessive amounts. So it's just something to think about. So companies these days are starting to make the non-stick cookware without the PFCs, which is nice. Yet again, still don't fully know with any of the alternative chemicals what could potentially happen. Another thing that is a common cookware is glass. These ones typically aren't used on the stove though, so most of the cookware that we're talking about today usually can be used on the stove, but glass, Pyrex, it's traditionally known as the most non-toxic and safe for food, but that downfall is in the extreme temperatures. Or changes in temperatures, it breaks. Glass is fragile.
It does.
Or you sticky fingers.
I had a prime rib for New Year's once, and then it dried out, or I didn't have any liquids in the bottom. So stupid me, I poured some water right directly into it, closed the oven door, and
explosion.
Burst it all. So glass, be careful of. It is a great product.
It can be dangerous, yes. Or dropping it, So you do have to be careful, but that's not too bad. It's just used in the stove, or not on the stove. I've heard though that they have started to come out with some glass type pots and pans for the stovetop. I just don't know much about them, or haven't really seen them myself.
I haven't seen them yet.
I haven't really seen them, but they might be out there. I've heard they are. So, and then there's lead-free ceramics. So ceramics, also like glass, tend to be used in the stoves a lot more, and can't do well with the change in temperatures, especially the extreme ones. I don't know of any that actually can go on the stovetop either. I think those are traditionally just what we'd, call
baking.
bakeware. Yeah. So, but one thing to think about with those is that they are painted or have a coating on them, and so you want to make sure that coating is lead free and or chemical free, I guess. So you just want to make sure you're aware of what that is, because obviously lead is definitely not something you want to be having in your system.
No.
We don't even want our walls painted with lead,
Yeah.
so probably not anything with our food. So that's just one thing to think about. I would have never thought of that. Just like, oh yeah, they did have lead in paint before. So I think the newer ceramic dishes probably are least likely to have the lead in it, since it's more regulated these days, but just still something to think about. Would have never thought to check the labels of what the materials are of my cookware, but we become more aware of these things every day.
It's rare that we're even checking the labels of what's in our food.
That
So a
too.
lot of people are complaining about, I don't know what's in it, I don't know what's in it on certain things nowadays, and yet they don't know half the chemicals that are in their food, and they're still digesting them.
Yes.
And that's what causes a lot of problems. So we did some shopping the other day, just went to Macy's, and again, while it's a little bit more expensive, I think it's going to be a lot more advantageous to you, especially if you're worried about a child or somebody with an autoimmune deficiency or anything like that, is getting some of these chemicals out of your food that you're eating, because you're already getting it with chemicals in it that you don't know about. Green Pan, the original Green Pan is one of the, and we're not here to sell any of these specifically.
No, we're not paid by anybody for these.
Yeah, the original Green Pan is one that I found because they do have a lot of indications on it on what it is free of. I just can't find it because you guys are looking at me right now. But they have a lot of
Free of PFAs.
yeah, there you go. PFAs, PFOAs, lead, and cadmium. Okay, another one is Analon. Analon has some good products too, and those are also free of a lot of these things here. No PFOAs, no lead, no cadmium in any of those.
Yes.
The other thing that people forget about is the utensils that you use to cook with. So a lot of those utensils have a lot of BPAs and things like that in it, and you want to find a good set of utensils. Bamboo, of course, is one of the best. Now, it's kind of hard to flip an egg with a bamboo spatula, but there are some good products out there. And again, Analon is one of the product makers who does some of the BPA-free type products for your cooking utensils.
Yeah. Pyrex is a common brand for our glass. Yet again, we're not affiliated with Pyrex, but the nice thing about these is they've evolved, and a lot of them can be even put in the freezer or put in the refrigerator with leftovers. They come with lids these days, so it's nice that they make them a little bit more user-friendly for us. So, you know, love that about them. Another tidbit that I was reading about is if you do have certain types of pots and pans, if they start to get scraped or scratched, which some of these, you know, materials do and are easy to, the utensil alone could help. So like if you have like the non-stick, if you're using a metal spatula, that's going to create those scratches that then promotes the leaching a lot more than if it wasn't and intact. So that's just something else to think about too, is what type of utensil are you using on that pot or pan, which I know that was a big thing in our house. My mom had the metal utensils for the specific, you know, like the stainless steel, but if we were using that on the non-stick, she was like, what are you doing? So we use like the wood or like the same non-stick kind of utensils as well. So
yeah, I challenge you to check out your pots and pans right now to see how many scratches you have in it. And just remember, all you're doing is loosening that material just to get inside of your body and potentially make you sick. So
adding that
definitely start looking for it. Another good thing with Pyrex and stuff like that is the food storage afterwards and before. Again, we're using a lot of plastics, a lot of this inexpensive stuff that you can buy in the store. You're going to get, what, 20 containers for like $1.50 or whatever it is. And it's all has BPA and stuff like that, and it's just like water bottles, things like that. We have to start getting a little bit more concerned. We're concerned about your health. Hopefully you're concerned about your health, and hopefully you enjoyed today's video on some of the healthy home cooking tips from the products that we have out there.
yeah.
All right.
Perfect. Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you.